Thank you for joining. It is always a great pleasure to be here in Singapore. My name is Hadar, and I'll be talking about reactive pricing, or specifically how we use artificial intelligence to transition to a predictive pricing model. So as mentioned, my name is Hadar. I'm the director of deep learning at Fetcherr. I oversee research and development of the large market model, which is Fetcherr's proprietary model for decision making with artificial intelligence. I bring nearly a decade of experience building machine learning and artificial intelligence systems, bringing experience in demand estimation and time series analysis, with a master's degree in computer science, background in physics, and publications in top-tier AI venues. Some of them were actually hosted in Singapore. I'm going to start from the very end. Fetcherr is breaking the legacy barrier in pricing models. What you see on the left-hand side is legacy systems. Different products are outlined in their prices and how it changes on a daily cadence. And on the right-hand side, the very same system, the same pricing of the product as controlled by an AI decision platform governed by Fetcherr. So what do we see on the left-hand side? Prices, when they change, happen on quite a rare occasion, and those price changes are, for the most part, governed by rule-based or simple analysis. They change, are quite correlated, and sometimes happen even on bulk. This, my friends, is leaving revenue on the table. On the right-hand side, on the other hand, we can see the same prices, the same products, but their price is governed by decision-making with AI. You see that they are much less correlated in the sense that every data that feeds into the model and every byte of information is a responsibility for changing the prices. Now, like nature, in markets, we have multiple actors. In those environments, the dynamics is interconnected and always dynamic. Now, these actors, as you can see here, they act in the environment, but when they do so, they do not act on the direct information, but on the lagged information, oftentimes acting too slow. But when we provide these actors with the underlying mechanism of how the market evolves over time, they could use this in order to benefit and to act proactively and not reactively, having the capability to work much more in a nuanced manner in a competitive landscape, as we will soon see. Now, at the core of Fetcherr's artificial intelligence stands the large market model. It is Fetcherr's AI model that enables decision intelligence. Now, at the core of the model stands a state-of-the-art deep neural network that consumes hyperdimensional input and predicts or into the forecast horizon a hyperdimensional market dynamics. Some examples of those inputs could be hyperdimensional representation of products along their historical prices and seasonality patterns, what prices were they priced at and at what time they were purchased. And the output of such model could be the dynamics of the market represented by demand estimation forecasted long into the future, but also the relation to the price in the sense of elasticity and how those prices connect to sensitivity, to competition, and the willingness to pay. Now, the large market model on its own is passive. It is not intended to make price recommendation on its own. It predicts the dynamics of the market into the future, and then a generative pricing engine kind of completes the picture with an end-to-end solution of an AI predictive pricing platform. Now, such platform has multiple impacts. It could oversee 100% of the pricing automation across your network, spanning the entire product offering. It also does so by being data-driven and making decisions optimally on scale, all by enhancing the competitive positioning of our clients. Now, if we zoom into the pricing decision pipeline end-to-end, it all starts with data consolidation. This is the part where the large market model analyzes information, both from internal sources and external sources. As mentioned, internal information could be historical attributes of the price of the products we intend to price. historical transaction log, seasonality patterns, and so on. But here at Fetcherr, we understand that this information is nothing without the broader context of the market. Rare events, or events as a whole, that happen at the origin of the destination, including hurricanes and even wildfires. Events about concerts that happen around the world, and the ever-important market dynamics of historical Nasdaq prices, and even fuel prices that have turned to be monumental, as we all know, in recent time with the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. Now, as we analyze this data, the AI model, the large market model, consumes this information in order to predict the market dynamics. The market dynamics are the unique DNA of the market that is relevant for the specific clients and its landscape of competition. Those dynamics are then fed to a computationally intense simulation engine. The sole purpose of the simulation engine is to play with various price points, understanding the revenue landscape that is yielded by combining these different price points with the market dynamics. Once different price points are extrapolated into the future and revenue is understood on a simulation base, optimal policy could be derived, and this optimal policy is the policy that tells you what would be the optimal price point in order to get the advantage in the competitive landscape. At the very end, integration and execution is guaranteed seamless, provided on a platform that is provided to the analyst that sits at the end of the decision-making process. Now, we do understand that introducing AI systems to legacy pipeline does not go unseen without thinking very thoughtfully about integration and onboarding. This is why the large market model comes with a fleet of features. The first one is that it works with any data input, and the price recommendations are delivered to any channel or in any format. Price recommendations could also be provided in a fully automatic manner, semi-automatic, with red and green areas of confidence that are governed and overseen, but also on a manual way. Through it all, full explainability is guaranteed. There is clear visibility into what we call a glass box rather than a black box that tells you traceability measured in a human-readable way of what were the driving factors that made the decision to price a specific product at a specific value. Integration obviously requires minimal IT, and scaling of the system happens gradually on an A/B testing form when revenue is always evaluated as the system evolves. Through it all, enterprise-grade privacy is guaranteed. Data is never shared, and cloud security is being adhered to the best practices. Information that is used for model training and inference is never done on the personal level and always comprises only on market level aggregate. Now, the system as a whole is provided as a dashboard for our clients with data-driven insights about origin destination statistics. But not only that, explainability measure, as mentioned, that trace back the driving factors that have led to a specific decision to be conducted or a specific price policy to be deployed. In this example, we can see how weekly and yearly seasonality patterns are used, also availability constraints and the unconstrained demand as some factors that govern why a decision was made by our AI system. Now, Fetcherr is delivering measurable business outcomes. Some notable examples with Delta. Delta says how their analysts have transformed from regular analysts to quote-unquote super analysts. And a recent study by Azul have claimed that more than 2,000 analyst hours have been saved by migrating from their original pipelines into Fetcherr's AI systems. By doing so, Fetcherr guarantees scalable and fast onboarding processes. As the WestJet case outlines, 80% of the network coverage was achieved by less than 1 year. And as previously mentioned before, Viva utilizes our real-time GPE Plus, allows for real-time price predictions with automatically deploying the policies. Through it all, over 6 or even now 5 or even 7 years of revenue generation, Fetcherr has seen aggregator results of more than 7% revenue uplift for every one of its clients. The downstream effect of that is not only about the revenue uplift, though, it's also about the decrease in the manual processes by allowing analysts to become those super analysts and automate the processes that they are used to do on their own. On top of that, the ever-improving model guarantees more than 96%, given our last analysis, of improved prediction, and this cycle goes on. Through it all, full onboarding, as mentioned, can be guaranteed in less than 9 months. Now, we have seen that in competitive landscape, understanding of the market dynamics and how competition evolves is monumental for the success of the players in the environment. And as we have seen, in this environment, there are actors that act in the environment, and there are also actors that are acted upon. But unlike recent or the novel understanding that older attributes such as being strong, being faster, or even having access to the smartest employees could bring the upper hand, now we understand in the era of artificial intelligence that it is actually not the case. Whereas understanding how to utilize artificial intelligence to make decisions could bring the upper hand. So I would like to thank you all for listening to this talk. We have, you could come to our booth. We'll be staying there. Appreciate your time. Have a great rest of your day.